Hey guys, Paul from Ashen Phoenix. It is New Comic Book Day for the week of November 20th, and we're going to get started right now. This episode brought to you by shirts. I mean, not really a catchphrase, buy one.
Alright guys, Tim from Capes and Scowls, and let's talk about some trades, huh? Because that's a thing we do. Immortal Hulk, Volume 5. This book is still one of the best-selling books in all of comics right now, and Al Ewing is the best. I mean, he's pretty much the best. Coming up in second for best, though, is Matthew Rosenberg for using Moon Knight in this Punisher story and just having some of the best one-liners ever. He gets the character. Somebody give Matthew Rosenberg a Moon Knight title. Next, we have Journey to Star Wars, Rise of Skywalker, Star Wars Allegiance. That's a mouthful. Maybe it's good. I don't know. There's too much Star Wars for me to follow all that. Paul, is it good?
I have no idea.
No idea, people. Buy the book. Make a judgment for yourself. Or make your friends buy it, and then you're not saddled with it if it's awful. You have a friend who loves Star Wars. Neil Gaiman's The Books of Magic, 30th Anniversary Edition. It's an excuse to put a book on Black Label. Yeah. Postal Deliverance, Volume 1. This is the newest Postal miniseries. This is Matt Hawkins, Brian Hill. Those are good people. We've got Star Wars, Age of Resistance, Villains. Not as bad, that one. These were a bunch of one-shots. There's several trades of these one-shots. Check those out. The Death of Superman, The Wake. Why, what happened when he died? A bunch of stuff. That means I don't know what this is, actually. That's what that means. Nightwing, Burnback. This is issues 57 through 62. It doesn't have a volume number on it. Why would it? Some more Nightwing for you. We got The Wilds from Black Mask. This book is a pretty popular one. It looks weird. I like weird, so I probably love it. And then finally, we're ending with Deceased, Tom Taylor. Tom Taylor is amazing. This is your hardcover. It's actually super nice. I love the red on it. Yeah, this is remember Marvel Zombies? This is DC's version of it. What would you say is better, Paul? You read both, right?
Oh, this is so much better.
This is so much better. Suck it, Kirkman. Oh, that's not a good idea. Oh yeah, Sabrina.
Alright guys, first up we have Heartbeat, issue number 1. I can't tell you anything about what I've just read. It's a weird book. I don't truly understand it. I ended up having to go read the preview guide to kind of get a gist of what this book is. And if you know me and you know how I review comics, I hate that. You should be able to pick a book up off the rack and get at least some understanding of what is going on. You don't get that here. You have a student who is downtrodden. She is a poor student going to a wealthy private school, and she is she hates all the students because she is bullied, and then witnesses a murder, and that's the end of the book. And it's like, I'm sure there was something here that we're supposed to see and something here we're supposed to get, but I don't know what it is. The art was good. The layout was kind of interesting, but I mean, outside of that, I have no idea. So if you know more about this book than I do, or if you're going to willing to give this the 5 issues that it's slated to be, go for it. Otherwise, skip it, miss it, don't buy it, whatever you want to do, because I still have no idea what I read.
All right, first up we have Masters, He-Man and the Masters of the Multiverse. This book is another of DC's kind of unique He-Man books. I've read a lot of them. I read the Thundercats tie-in. I read the DC Injustice tie-in. And this is essentially, if you recall your He-Man, there was a dark version of He-Man from a different dimension or something. He's evil. He's dark and twisted. This is that version of He-Man murdering other He-Men. It's basically Jet Li's the One. He's trying to become the One. And he is murking all the other versions of himself in the other universes. And so the remaining He-Mans kind of rally. They find the good version of Skeletor. There's only one of those. And they're trying to unite with him to overthrow him. That is your basic gist of it. I don't want to ruin too many things, but there is a version of He-Man in here that made me so incredibly happy. Just a wonderful, wonderful thing to turn a page and there it is. If you like He-Man, you should really enjoy it. There's some deep pulls in here. If you've kind of been on the fence about it or you want to read the other ones first, it's fine. But I liked it. I thought it was good. I'm very curious to see where it goes. It's Tim Seeley. Tim Seeley is usually pretty good. He does good with a lot of darker stuff, but he's done some property books in the past. I believe he did some G.I. Joe and some other stuff. So he gets his source material. Check it out if you like He-Man.
Next up, we have Batman issue number 83. Not a lot goes on in this book. It's not a spoiler now. I mean, it's been long enough. Alfred died. He not just died, he was killed. And Batman now has realized what has happened, and you are watching him come to grips with that death as you kind of hear Alfred's last words or thoughts of what he wants Bruce to be. It's a really sad book. It's a really, really sad issue. But it does kind of set up what's supposed to be going on here, and what I'm assuming is going to be one of the pivotal fights of this arc. But yeah, it's a weird one. It's a dense read, but I mean, it's not bad.
Next up from Image Comics, we got Olympia #1. Speaking of a He-Man kind of vibe, this book is similar. It is your main character is Olympia, and he is fighting to save his world from invaders. He's pretty much down to him. It seems like the invaders are going to win when you realize it's a comic book, and a young boy is reading it. And you're like, oh no, we got to stay tuned until next month. And then Olympia, the character, the human, the person, falls from the sky and is actually in the real world. Now, I know this sounds very 80s and kind of weird kind of story, but this is not a super cutesy book. Things are violent, awful things follow him. There's Olympia tries to recover, the kid tries to help him. It's very confusing as to what is reality and what is not. But it is intended to be figured out in later issues. I like that when the kid is reading the book and you're not 100% sure it's a book yet, the pages look a little more beat up. And it's just little tricks and things like that to kind of fool your eye. I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed the color palette. I like the zip-a-tone. Anytime you zip-a-tone a thing with some dots, I am all in on that. So the art was great. Kurt Pyers, I'm assuming, and Tony Pyers, Alex Deodato. A lot of good people worked on this book. It's very much a love letter to Kirby, and it does have a little He-Man kind of feel to it. Maybe that's because I just read He-Man before this, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. I don't think it's going to be for everybody. You got to love your sword and sorcery kind of stuff, but I don't think it's bad at all, and I think you should check it out.
Next up, we have Once and Future, issue number 4. I have been raving about this book since the very beginning, and that does not end. This was almost my pick of the week, but not quite. We're finding out now that, again, what we've discussed in the last review of this, it's an interesting take on what is reality, what is real, what is legend, and how reality can shape what is legend, and how legend can shape what is reality. And we're starting to learn that the Granny, who is still my absolute favorite character in comics right now, is not as wholesome or blameless in this story as we're led to believe, or at least we understand at the very beginning, because she has always known a little bit too much about what's going on, and now we find out why. I'm not going to spoil what it is, but man, it's really good. I'm excited to see where this goes. I can't wait to read more of it. Pick it up. Before we get to this week's Picks of the Weeks, if you like what you're seeing, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because it's the only way that you're going to know when these videos drop.
All right, it's time for my pick of the week, and of course it is, Paul. Of course, it's the question, The Deaths of Vic Sage. This is a Black Label giant magazine format book. It is written by Jeff Lemire. It has art by Dennis Cowan, and the inking is actually Bill Sienkiewicz. I can never talk. Sienkiewicz, the Moon Knight guy. He did the inks on it. It's kind of interesting because he's got such a style, so you see it in the inking, but it's not his artwork. So it's kind of got a unique feel to it. Basically what you have is the question is trying to expose horrible people in Hub City. He's a little more Rorschach-y than I want him to be. I understand he kind of should be, but I don't know. When he says "herm," it kind of irritates me. But besides that, I think this book's great. Everything about it's pretty good, and it's gonna have like 3 kind of stories converge and all affect each other, and just the real world kind of feel to this. It's pulpy, it's superhero-y all at the same time. The people are scummy, and the innocents suffer as well, because it's a comic book, and if the innocents don't suffer, Paul, there's no actual problem. So I enjoyed it. I love this cover. I love the art. Lemire's always solid. So please, please, please check this out. And I'd say out of the Black Label stuff, this is one of my favorites. It's maybe my first or second. I'd have to read the whole thing. Batman Damned was pretty good. But as far as brand new Black Label stuff, this is really solid. So check out The Question if you're not familiar with him. Rorschach. He's kind of Rorschach-y. Best Question story is 52. 52 was fantastic. So check that out as well if you want more of him. But yeah, read this. It's Lemire. Lemire's great.
What is my pick of the week? It is Marauders issue number 2. This is hands down my favorite book of the X title so far. I've read every issue of The Dawn of X. This is the only one that seems to be going anywhere. Everything else just kind of meanders, for the lack of a better term. This is a very interesting one because it's going to be pirates. Like, we have mutant pirates, and then you also have this political intrigue and all this kind of fun stuff between Emma Frost and Black Tom Cassidy. Not Black Tom Cassidy. Shit. Sebastian Shaw. That's who it is, man. It took me for a second. It's such a fun read, and we get to see Kitty Pryde, or Kate Pryde, in a much different light as she kind of gets her all and assumes a more rightful position in this comic. This is going to be a fun read. I can't wait to read more of this. And again, this is the only X title that I'm reading right now. The other ones, we'll see if they move into something better. But as of right now, this is my book. You should pick it up.
All right, that's the end of the video. It's over. Do we have anything to plug, Paul?
No, not really.
All right, we got...
Yes, actually.
Wait, there is a thing.
Yeah, if you're watching twitchtv.com/ not twitchtv.com, twitch.tv/Ashen Phoenix, come check us out our anniversary stream. It'll be our 1-year anniversary on the platform. Be fun games, giveaways, all that kind of fun stuff. Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitch TV. Come check us out.
There's a Twitch thing going on, everybody. Please check it out. You know or not. But you should. You should do it, right? They should do it. They're going to have a good time. Guaranteed?
I don't know.
Guaranteed good time?
I can't
I guarantee you will have
you
just
can guarantee that.
an absolute... Because I don't mind lying to them.
Yeah,
I don't mind lying to you.
I see that.
I really don't mind. There's no value in the truth here. So you're going to have a great time. Your family's going to have a great time. Maybe you'll meet somebody. Like, make it an event. Have a party and watch this. Wouldn't that be nice?
You're really giving me too high a bar.
The bar couldn't be any higher. I'm so impressed with this, the height of this bar. It's going to be great.
We're going to limbo under it.
You walk under it. It's so high, this bar. It's going to be great. Don't worry about it. Everything's fine, Paul. You're beautiful. Don't worry about it. You're wonderful. I love you.
Oh, okay.
All right. Yeah, I got nothing going on, so who cares? Let's just end the video.